We have a couple of minor amendments to the agenda under the presentation by city staff. Policy 804 should read policy 801. No, the other way around. 801 should read 804. Yes. Pardon? Amendment. Yes, that's the amended minutes. Oh, amendment to the regular meeting minutes.
Yeah, not in the agenda, but just the regular meeting minutes. The last council meeting.
See, that wasn't on there. Threw me off. All right, so a motion to adopt the agenda. Councillor Doherty, Councillor Smith, all those in favor. And the committee of the whole meeting minutes from August 18th. Motion to adopt. Councillor Kendall, Councillor Doherty, all those in favor. And the regular minutes of August the 18th is where this amendment is. So that's policy 801 should read 804. That was the correction to it. And so motion to adopt the August 18th regular meetings as amended. Councillor Doherty, Councillor Smith, all those in favor. Petitions and delegations.
We got the special meeting minutes.
Did we miss that one?
Yeah.
Oh, and yes, special meeting minutes of August the 18th. A motion to adopt. Councillor Kendall, Councillor Smith. All those in favor. I can't believe I walked down there. Too early to make mistakes. And bringing us down to verbal reports from council, starting with. See a hand up, Councillor Doherty.
Yes, I wish I attended the parade at the fall fair, and also attended the fall fair with yourself.
Yeah.
It was a very nice fair, and the parade was very nice. I also attended the airport on Sunday, Appreciation Day.
Yeah.
And there was a good turnout there too, except a little bit of rain, but we had that for 2 days. But everything would turn out very good. And music in the park is done for this summer. We had a nice summer with a lot of people that showed up through the 2 months. And the hockey season is starting
off,
and minor hockey too. So they're all getting ready for the big season in the fall and winter.
We have 3 games in a row with the Bruins.
Yeah. So that's all that I have, Your Worship.
Thank you, Councillor.
It was a short one.
And Councillor Wires?
Oh, thank you. Well, I'll start with the fly-in, Airport Appreciation Day that took place on August the 24th and the 25th at the airport. And with a huge thank you to city staff and City Works for all the help they gave to the Flying Association to put on the annual event. And we did see 25 visiting aircraft sign the guest book this year. So we had visitors from the Vernon area, there was Coquitlam, Vancouver, and of course we had the Okanagan Warbirds in attendance. So they'll be returning to give 2 lucky winners a ride in the Warbirds. Because of the weather system that did pull in earlier that morning, we had a number of aircraft that did take off for home. So they'll be returning one weekend to give some lucky winners their ride. So you'll see some noise over the airport again. And I do want to advise everyone that the Boundary Dog Sled Classic races will be on again in January 17th and 18th. And the committee's currently planning their fowl supper, which is a big fundraiser for them, at the Seniors Hall on Saturday, September the 27th. So that's upcoming. And we also have the Head Start program that I've been working with a group of local young girls. And they made a delegation before the Regional District Kootenai Boundary on August the 28th to inform our regional district of the upcoming Progress Conference that they're planning for October 3rd and 5th here in Grand Forks. And that completes my report.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Councillor Kendall.
Thank you, Your Worship. My report is quite short this meeting. I, along with Councillor O'Doherty, attended Music in the Park. A lot of good music there. Lots of people. I was actually pleasantly surprised at the turnout. It's good to see, and I think a great event for the community. And I attended the Fall Fair, I believe. I saw you there, and it appeared to be well attended, the Fall Fair. I'm hoping that they got enough people there to make it worthwhile for next year. The music was good. We had a lot of fun, so congratulations to them, and hopefully they'll be back again next year, and that's all I have on my report.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Crog.
I have a bunch of stuff, but I don't have a report because I forgot my calendar and all my notes.
Just make it up.
But actually ended up getting the Sunday off, so I actually got to go to the Fall Fair because I was working the Saturday, and I got to go up to the airport. The warbirds had left, but there was still lots of other stuff to see. So both were enjoyable, and honestly, off the top of my head, I'm not sure what else I did. I did lots of stuff. I just can't remember what it was. It's been an eventful couple of weeks. So
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Councillor Smith.
Thank you, Your Worship. Along with other members of council, of course, I attended the parade, which was really neat. Being the only person, I think, in history that's, along with a couple of us that got to drive down the local streets in a golf cart.
I saw this
That was kind of
nice
fun.
golf
And
cart.
we did win first for dignitary.
Well, and we
Did,
thank Kevin. I see that you sent a letter of thank you to Kevin for his loaning us the card.
Yeah. Of course, we were stranded there at the work yard for some time because
Yeah.
apparently, there was a delay in picking us up.
That's fine.
So we were hitchhiking down 2nd Street there for a
Put
while
out a fire
until Kevin
detector.
came and picked us up.
Yeah, so what's up with that?
Of course, I'm part of the steering committee for the Vital Signs committee for the Phoenix Foundation. That report will be coming out September 17th?
27.
Or 27th, sorry. So I'm sure everyone can look forward to that. There was a lot of work put into that, and Carly Olson, of course, was the project leader for that. So the report's looking really good, and I'm sure as we roll it out,
What's the date again?
27th
Of September.
of
It
September.
goes to press, I'm sorry, Councillor Smith, it goes to press, it's going to be made public in October.
Oh.
Oh, in October, okay, sorry,
Because
yeah,
the 27th was a Saturday.
that's right, yeah. Okay, so anyway, I'll report on that again next council meeting. Also, at our last council meeting, I talked about and I provided for council's review the final budget numbers with respect to the deer collaring and monitoring program that I had asked for support and received from the last council meeting. So here are the final numbers for the first year contribution of the committee would be $9,625. Including the in-kind, it would be $12,750 with a $3,125 in-kind contribution from the ministry. But the value of that, of course, as I spoke of last time, was far higher because to hire someone to do this work would be about 3 times as much money. So this is just the ministry's bottom rate inclusion. The drugs are being donated for nothing. And a vet that is actually experimenting with non-narcotic drugs to take down the animals so that they can be tagged and collared represents a significant step forward in monitoring for all kinds of animals throughout BC and possibly Canada. So this is an opportunity for the ministry, Grand Forks, and the Veterinary Association to work together towards a better monitoring program for animals in BC of all kinds. So I would like to ask council support in just moving ahead and allowing us to move forward and order the collars and get this program underway.
Mr. Allen?
Mr. Mayor, just to add to Councilor Smith, I believe we talked a little bit about your meeting with the minister. If you'd like to maybe add that in for just a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So at the UBCM, of course, we're going to be meeting with Minister Thompson along with other members of council, and we're just basically going to be painting ourselves up as the poster children for BC because no one else is doing this. No one else is doing this. This is top shelf stuff. So there's a real opportunity to not only impress the minister, but to ask the minister for additional funds to help support our efforts in helping manage a provincial issue, which has basically been fallen upon municipalities throughout BC. So.
All right, so you're putting this budget on the table this evening at this point?
Yeah, as a final budget, Your Worship, I seek some council support in going ahead and ordering the collars in accordance with the budget and to carry out the program.
And you're making that a motion?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
And seconder, Councillor Wires. Discussion, Councillor Wires.
So, it's 9 collars that we're gonna.
That's correct. The ideal situation, if at all possible, is to identify the 3 major herds that are running through town and to collar 1 buck and 2 does from each of the 3. And a couple of big questions that we're looking to answer are they resident? And B, mortality. Because mortality is a big issue, of course, with respect to vehicle deer collisions and other types of mortality that may occur. So, of course, the collars have the ability, because they're taking 2 signals a day, if a mortality event happens, the collar will read a signal that this, that animal has stayed stationary for more than a certain period of time.
And the ministry is collecting the information.
The ministry is collecting the data, and Jenny Coleshill has agreed to be the one that basically
puts the numbers together.
Yeah, puts the numbers together, and I've offered myself up as a backup because I do have background as a research assistant for Ag Canada. So
it says total first fiscal 9/26/25.
Yes. So because this is a 4-year,
3-year.
No, it's actually 4 years because it was going to be. Initially, it was going to be 3 data points, but the collars that we're getting don't have the capacity for gathering 3 data points, just 2. So it'd be like a 7 a.m., 7 p.m. GPS, where are they? And the battery has a life for up to 4 years. So that will give us 4 years worth of data. But there's an ongoing cost, which is associated with this, and that is just in the data collection, and that comes to $23.80 per year for the following 3 years.
Okay, so that's where you get. Okay.
Yeah.
And we would be paying Jenny then to do the data?
Nope. Jenny's going to do this by. She's a volunteer. Myself, volunteer as well.
Councillor Crowd.
So the GPS is just snapshots
Yes.
of time, so it's not, because I was thinking, okay, so you should be able to have a look at patterns and trails and the migratory part
What we're
of
trying to
that.
find out, like I
Urban
said,
deer.
is that we're just trying to find out whether they are completely resident. Because if the
Okay.
bucks are going up into the mountains, then that is going to be an important thing to understand about the resident deer population. If they're sticking around in town, again, that's an important thing. So as we move forward with other management options, that's the kind of information we need to know.
Mr. Allen?
And further, Mr. Mayor, just to remind council that council was very successful with the ministry last year in obtaining another year of the animal aware program. So I think that the ministry has shown their willingness to participate in this. So, council will be having the meeting in AUBCM in a couple of weeks. Will maybe prove to the free food program in the event that they may be able to obtain some more funding. So there is a good opportunity there.
Okay. Councillor Wyatt?
But in the interim, funding's gonna come out of
The Deer Committee Fund,
the Deer Committee Fund?
or the Deer Committee budget, sorry.
So the new council will,
So currently, the budget that remains with the Deer Committee is in excess of $15,000.
oh,
So
okay.
the 9, we definitely have the money to cover that for this year.
Okay, so you're gonna start it right away.
Absolutely, yeah. They were looking at, because the vet has a couple of narrow windows open in late October and then maybe the third week of November. So and this is kind of why there's a bit of urgency here, because the time to, it takes about 6 weeks to, get the callers in and make sure that the whole program is set up prior to these 2 windows that this vet has, who's going to do it for free, like I said, with the chemicals for free and all. But that's why we kind of need to move on this and have a decision for them, so he can get right on and coordinate with council.
So the ministry did put in money for wild safety seed, did they not? Your worship?
Yes.
It was $15,000
They
actually.
put 15,000.
Yeah.
So there's a good chance we might be able to attract some attention to funding for this one.
Councillor Crowe?
Would there be, through you, would there be any advantage to waiting to have the meeting first before agreeing to the
No,
budget?
Yeah, and that's why I sort of indicated a sense of urgency, is that in order to get the program, or get the callers and meet the dates at this vet, because it's going to be his show once it comes time to doing it. We need to make sure that those callers are available and ready to go, and that there's, any delays that we may not foresee are kind of mitigated, and we just roll this program out. So no, I don't see that there's any advantage to waiting until the minister meeting happens.
The only reason that I thought was the potential to leverage, like if we pay for it and we do it, and then we go to them, and they say, oh, nice job, or if we say, we can do this, we've got it all lined up, if you want to put some money in it.
Well,
that
and,
would be the
my
only-
opinion at this point is this data collection doesn't preclude us from action money that we might ask from the ministry as a follow-up to what we might be gaining in terms of information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this is actually what happened with the wild safety seed thing, is that we had already pretty much engaged that option as to where we were going with our last year's budget. And then the ministry stepped up and said, oh, okay, well, poster children, go ahead. And here you go. So
Yeah.
I think as proactive as we can be about it, that's a demonstration to the ministry that we're doing our part and are soliciting them to give us a hand. So.
Councillor Kendall?
And I think that Councillor Smith has alluded to the fact that the ministry is already participating. And, with the 3,000 and some odd dollars of hard costs, along with staff time and everything else, which comes to a total contribution roughly equal to what the city's putting in, that we aren't kind of going it alone, as, we've been going into it this way, but the ministry is participating, and I think we can just, hopefully, because we're in it together, that they will step up and see the value and possibly contribute some more funding.
Well, and I'm hoping that our long-term plan does include putting the deer back where they belong in their own habitat over the next 4 years. If we can look at ways of moving that population of deer back into the wild, this may be a monitor in terms of telling us how successful we are.
Absolutely, Your Worship. One thing that, a group that I've been a part of is the Gilpin Grasslands group, along with Councillor Wires and Christine Thompson, is I arranged a meeting with Nick Burdock, who is a representative for the Nature Trust, who owns 300 and some acres up by Overton Creek. The city also owns a water license at Overton Creek. And I think there may be the possibility of convergence of activity to, A, keep cows out of that rangeland, which is owned by the public, to enhance Overton Creek in our water license in that area through our responsibility, and then the potential to actually attract those wildlife up and then be able to track it with the monitors and be able to gauge whether or not that kind of action is actually effective. So I think there's a huge opportunity here to do a lot of things just as a confluence of fortunate circumstances, essentially.
I agree. Council, further comment? So the motion on the table is to give the green light to go ahead with this project. There'll be more detail coming forward, I'm sure, in terms of time.
As it unfolds, the
Yeah.
timelines and all that kind of stuff will roll out.
Right.
And more education to the public will be offered.
Call for the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Councilor Shagan, do you want your vote recorded? Yep. Okay, Councilor, any further on your report?
No, I'm fine, thank you, Your Worship.
And moving around the table, Councilor Shagan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report for this week.
I'm sorry,
No report.
no report. Okay, thank you. And I have a couple of items. Again, thank you to the staff for the work they did on the fall fair. They did have a tough time with weather. That was certainly one of the difficult times they had to deal with here. I'm just reporting that September the 6th is the Lobster Fest at Christina Lake in support of the Children's Spray Park. And also I'll be attending, and I hope council sanctions my attendance on behalf of the city at the John Jarrett event in Greenwood, which is celebrating his notorious life in Greenwood. So anybody's interested, it's a fascinating story of John Jarrett, the friend of Billy the Kid and bank robber extraordinaire. So hopefully it'll be part of the color of the area that will be able to attract more tourists. So I'll be attending those two events. That's my report, and a motion to approve council reports. Councilor Doherty, Councilor Smith, all those in favor. And the regional district board, I'm going to forego saying anything about this at this point. We have a meeting coming up this week, and I'll be reporting back on a number of issues, but there's really been very limited to no activity at the regional table for the last couple of months here with summer vacations and people leaving. That is it, and I'll answer questions on the regional district if anyone has any. Hearing none, a motion to accept the non-report from the regional district. Councillor Kendall, Councillor Doherty, Councillor Shagan. I thought it was his arm or your arm. All those in favor? All right, that's council reports. Recommendations from staff for decisions. The Grand Forks Recreation Commission request for the license of occupation for the demonstration garden. Great story in the local newspaper, by the way, Craig. That was really well done. The picture story explaining what that was all about. And what we're looking for here today is that council approves the license of occupation. A motion. Councillor Doherty, Councillor Smith. Discussion? Councillor Kendall?
Just a question. Once we, through you to the CAO, once we give a license of occupation, does that, can anything ever be done with that land after that?
What are the implications of
License of occupation is we're lending out the land.
Yeah.
We're lending out the land, and council can lend it out in the event that there is going to be a need for the community use that changes. That license of occupation will allow the city to essentially give notice and acquire it back. Now, you know, basically the license of occupation though is an agreement, a formal agreement that allows them the right to be on the land. It allows them the ability to, it's not dissimilar to a lease or any other type of arrangement.
So it is reversible, it's not like a permanent condition.
Exactly.
I think that was your question.
Yes.
Counselor Smith, and
Well, it's essentially the same as the fire department with their training grants, right? We're not giving anything away. It's
Counselor Rashagan.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just out of curiosity, I've asked a question before when we did a license of occupation with the BMX, the Mountain Bike Association behind the station there, I think it was. But who holds the liability on that property? I know in their case, through their association, they were able to get liability insurance, but this group would have to cover liability insurance?
Would be the regional district.
At this point right now, Mr. Mayor, those details would be worked out, but as prior to us entering into the agreement, we would have, this is a formality to move into that next step. Within that, there would be certain requirements that they would have to meet along the way, so that would be one of those.
Saving us,
Saving harmless the city from these types of exposures that would potentially be developed. We don't know what that'll look like yet, but looking at the risk levels in these types of situations, they're not that high, but the user group would have to provide that type of insurance.
Counselor Rashagan? Yeah. Okay, and that's a motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. The Volunteer Appreciation Night, we are announcing that we're accepting the nominations for volunteer appreciation, and they will be as part of a larger community appreciation night done at the curling rink on what date?
October 16th.
October 16th. So this is basically council providing notice of this. I think it's an improvement, and I hope that it goes well. We really need to appreciate those volunteers, and in past it's been very difficult when they've been all over the map in terms of different groups appreciating volunteers. Let's all do it as one, because it is for the community good for most cases. All right. So a motion to provide notice to the public. Councilor Kendall, Councilor Rashagan, all those in favor. MIBC voting delegates, these would be from the group going to UBCM. Council receives the report and resolves to appoint. We have a couple of choices. Do we have some volunteers here for MIBC? Councilor Wires, as the voting delegate, you're volunteering for that?
Mm-hmm.
And as a seconder for that, Councilor Smith is going to be the second. And council receives the staff and resolves these two appointments. A motion of that staff, Councilor Kendall, seconded by Councilor Rashagan. Any further discussion?
I believe we need two alternatives.
Pardon?
We need two alternatives, do we not?
Do we,
I believe these two alternates, Mr. Mayor.
and two alternates. All right, I will volunteer as another alternate.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, and the motion's on the table. That would be myself as an alternate, Councilor Smith as an alternate, and the voting delegate would be Councilor Wires. All those in favor? All right. City Hall contingency resolution for financial plan amendments. We dealt with this at the committee of the whole this morning. Can I have that motion? Councilor Krog, second Councilor Doherty. And again, this is to deal with issues that might arise in terms of any disputes in the interpretation of the insurance company's coverage of a particular item that we're not going to be in a place where we're being blackmailed by time delays here. If things are necessary, we're going to get them done. So that's what that money is about. It's not at this point for things that we're paying for. And the motion is on the table. All those in favor? Carried.
Who made the motion?
Who made the motion? Councilor Krog made the motion,
Yeah,
seconded by
yeah.
Councilor. Next item is information items. And this item has to do with tree removal, which has always been a contentious issue, and been very wise to ask council for their consideration on this. So this is to remove trees at Senior Citizen Branch, and council is being told that this is being recommended by staff to remove the trees. Can I have that motion? Councilor Doherty, Councilor Smith. Any discussion? It's too bad we have to remove any trees, but there are some very
Yeah.
practical reasons why we do it, so. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the next is that we're being congratulated for our gas emissions reduction in the fact that our greenhouse gas emissions have met the reduction levels that we had targeted. So I think this is certainly a pat on the back for all of the people who implemented that, including the Environment Committee, Councillor Wires. Motion to receive. Councillor Wires makes the motion, seconded Councillor Smith. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Bylaws, the first items here are adoption of final bylaws. This is final adoption of these items that are being repealed. So we have 3 repeals to do. We'll do them separately, one at a time.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
For the tax exemption bylaw, I will have to remove myself, so I do not appear to be in a conflict of interest.
This is the removal of the
That's it.
industrial tax.
Oh, this
exemption.
is, sorry, yes, okay. I saw this from the morning meeting, I was confused.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so I
Are
do
we
apologize.
dealing with that tonight at all? No.
No, that's the next meeting.
Yeah.
I just saw tax exemption.
All right, so the first one is bylaw 178R and motion to final adoption of the repeal. Councillor Verschagen, Councillor Smith, all those in favor. The second item is bylaw number 1881R, a motion to adopt final repeal. Councillor Kendall, Councillor Wires, all those in favor. And the next one is 1912R, and the final motion to adopt the repeal. Councillor Doherty, Councillor Kendall, all those in favor. They're all gone. Now, the next items are first, second, and third reading to temporary bylaw number 1560. And we can accept first, second, and third reading as one motion. Motion 1950.
I'm on 1950.
Yes.
Or we-
So a motion for first, second, and third reading. Councillor Wires, Councillor Smith. Any discussion? Councillor Rashad.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Could, through you, or, well, if you can answer it, just to explain the $1.3 million, what it'll be used for here?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, that was the bylaw for the completion of the emergency water system, the long-term power generation, and then what we'll be moving on towards is the replacement of well number 2 as part of the emergency water supply system. So we've been locating the secondary well because we know that well is approaching its life expectancy. So again, the $1.3 million that was approved through the referendum process was allotted for this project.
Okay.
So the first, second, and third reading are on, the first, second, and third reading are on the table. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. And the next is the similarly RFD CFO temporary borrowing bylaw 1998, 3 readings. Council gives first 3 readings to this temporary bylaw. Councillor Doherty, Councillor Smith. Any discussion? All those in favor? And the next item is to give the first and second reading to a bylaw that would then go forward for public input to close the Sagamore Road and 2nd Street closure.
The corner.
The section of Sagamore.
Sagamore.
Yeah, let's not close it all together.
Well, that's what it's called.
I know.
Let's
but
not alarm people.
Corner, yeah. We're closing the road.
Okay, here's some.
So, Mr. Mayor, that is it is a section of road, so Sagamore being along the top and 2nd Street going up to the airport. There was a section of road that was gazetted that was, I guess, for future use, but it is simply a vacant piece of land for the community that doesn't attach to any long-term plans. And essentially, the idea behind this is we've had some inquiries on the parcel to enhance some of the properties adjacent to it. And right now, it doesn't bring any revenue into the city. Once somebody acquires that parcel, it will bring property taxes to the city and be considered to be a useful piece of land.
All right. So first and second reading for that. Councillor Smith, Councillor Doherty. Further discussion? Complimenting us on cleaning up these kinds of issues that sat there for years and been neglected. Good work. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. We have no late items. We have questions from the public and the media. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Roxana, please.
That's a long question. You'll understand why when I get to it.
Couldn't be longer than the one we got this morning from you.
Okay, I'll be speaking to the solar energy and net metering initiative. In April, all the council members received my letter recommending electricity net metering and promotion of solar energy for our community, but it was excluded from the upcoming council meeting. Doug Allen replied that the city might agree to my own solar PV project as a pilot project, but there appeared to be no effort to move forward on establishing a net metering program, except for a couple conversations with Gary Smith. Meanwhile, support to help establish our net metering program was offered by myself, BC Sustainable Energy Association, Fortis BC, BC Hydro, and Bowden Howell of Howell Mayhew Engineering, who has over 30 years experience in solar PV interconnection. After months of no effort by the city or council, I applied for net metering and interconnection approval based on the existing bylaw 1543. I was then told that the city was working on a net metering bylaw draft, which would have its first reading in August, and was told to proceed with the building permit requirements. Shortly after that, I received written interconnection approval from the city's electrical engineer, Alex Love, based on my application. I finalized the extensive building permit requirements, including stamped drawings by electrical and structural engineers, to ensure that everything was clear and reliable. When I asked to see the draft of the bylaw to offer comments, I was refused and told that it would have to be made public first. Then I was told the net metering bylaw was postponed until September 2nd, when it would have 3 readings. I spoke to Roger Huston, Rod Zielinski, Doug Allen about the progress of my project and that it would be finished by the end of August. When I tried to confirm net metering agreement and interconnection approval for my project prior to having the equipment shipped, I was told not only that the city would not agree to net metering, but also that it will not approve interconnection, despite previously being approved. No reason was given except that neither would be approved until the net metering bylaw was passed in September at tonight's meeting, which, as you know, did not happen. I was not informed that this bylaw would be entirely omitted from tonight's meeting, or why, even though the city knew that my solar project relied on it. All along, it's been apparent that the city and council did not act transparently or in good faith in this respect. My question, why, after months of expense and effort by so many people, has not one member of this council ever publicly acknowledged or mentioned this important renewable energy initiative?
Mr. Allen.
Mr. Mayor, all the way along through this process, this has never have been identified in council strategic priorities. Our work plan has been laid out for us through council strategic priorities, and some changes come along from time to time. We had a situation where our electrical engineer was not available for this month due to his inability, his not being at work. We did convey that message. I'm not sure if the communication happened between the customer, but all the way along, this situation was a situation the customer was looking to to endeavor upon. We agreed that they could look after this from a pilot project, if you will, but they were assuming all of the risk because we cannot approve anything before it goes to council. As we're dealing with the City Hall fire, putting together contracts related to that, which was not expected. We're dealing with staff from our perspective that is very much dealing with a plate full of projects. We've been delivering on many, many projects. There was never a situation where this was a request that was brought forward to our council to endeavor upon. It was simply made through communications to our staff. It was never presented at a council meeting. And Mr. Mayor, if I could just say that from our perspective, we've tried to work well with the homeowner, but in the respect of with the dissatisfaction, all I can suggest at this point is we knew that there was going to be some risk. We didn't know if there was going to be an opportunity to bring this project to fruition. We couldn't establish a rate until we understood the impacts on our organization financially, and we didn't want to put the utility at risk in that way. So essentially, we thought the program was really very, very interesting, but we had to look at our timelines for workload that we could simply accomplish. And this was not on the priority list for the city. We've had one request for this. We have not had multiple requests, and we wanted the customer to know that they simply could move forward on this as a pilot project that we would look at, but we couldn't make any commitments based on council buying the energy back from the customer. We had to make sure that we went through the proper processes and reviewed this to do our due diligence from a business perspective. So I appreciate the concern, but Mr. Mayor, we simply did not have the staffing ability to undertake this project at this point. Even though there was some offer for free assistance, we can't take that free assistance when it comes to a corporate initiative of this magnitude, because we have to understand the order of magnitude. We have several hundred customers, and we have to make sure we get this right. And in order to do this, we have to make sure we evaluate across the board and across all the different departments, corporately, finance department, operationally, determining all these different pieces. And there's a lot of moving parts. So again, Mr. Mayor, I can just say to you that we definitely said we were looking at this, and we would think that we would be able to look at it a little bit further. But right now, we are moving into a very busy time of the year, and we've been working along on this project. But we're simply at the following through with our electrical engineer and getting some information, and we're expecting to have that report to you on September 15th when he's back from his being away from work. And that's as much as I know at this point.
All right, thank you.
Excuse me. If I might just refresh your memory. It started with, in April, all council members received my letter recommending, et cetera, et cetera. My question is, why, after months of expense and effort by so many people, has not one council member, or not one member of this council ever publicly acknowledged or mentioned this important renewable energy initiative?
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Smith.
Well, Your Worship, in all fairness, I have had the opportunity to sit down with Ms. Bolton here on a couple of occasions, and I've indicated my strong interest in this as a renewable resource, especially as the chair of the Carbon Neutrality Subcommittee, and working with Paul Pinard and Chris Moslin on solar cars and education and whatnot. And I have, by myself, contacted many of the people that Roxanne has been working with. So I don't know what I was supposed to do in terms of publicly declaring something, but I do have to say that I do have a long-standing interest in this and would like to continue to work with Ms. Bolton at whatever opportunity to look at net metering as a viable.
Well, and I recall that this has come to the table before, and that we were in favor of it, that there were implications that we didn't understand, but that it's certainly not something council is neglecting at this point. We are interested in it. It's been one of the things that has been in front of us.
Well, and Your Worship, I mean, it's taken 3 years for the DEER committee in my term to get callers on DEER. Things do not happen at the speed of light in politics, regardless of what anybody may think. And as much time as I've been able to spend on it, even though it was not ever a priority prior to April,
yeah,
I've done what I can, in all honesty, to keep on the issue and to talk to the people that are making the decisions. So I think
And,
that
and
this
we
is
are
all
being told
fairness.
that we'll have Mr. Love here on the 15th
Absolutely.
if he's back from vacation.
Yeah.
Further comments, I guess, Councillor Lyons.
Your worship, in support of, backing our subcommittee, carbon neutrality, that would be the ideal position for it. And as Councillor Smith said, he has been speaking with the committee members who are involved in the solar program. This would have to be brought forward as probably a recommendation for the new council to move forward with as well, if the Environment Committee is to continue into the next term.
And to put it into our strategic priorities for the coming
When we
year.
sit down to do our strategic planning with that council.
All right,
So basically, this is my own project that I've been working on and the business activity that I've been trying to generate for the community, and all the benefits to the community are on hold. And you can't even mention it to the public.
I
And
don't
to let them
gather that because
start thinking
we've
about it,
talked
talking
about it
about it.
openly at different occasions. I'll say it right now, I'm very interested in solar.
I know
But at
my
this point,
point
we've
is
got
that it
Mr.
should
Love
have been
coming
mentioned
back here on the 15th.
to the public to let them start thinking about it and offering some feedback instead of keeping it secretive. And now postponing it inevitably, that thousands of dollars have already been invested in good faith. Okay, thank you, that's all.
Thank you.
I
Julie.
just have a question from what I've heard her say here. Did council give written documentation to this woman stating that they would be putting a bylaw on the table regarding that metering? Is that
I
what you-
received written interconnection approval, giving me approval
Hey,
to.
you guys could have your
Sorry,
discussion
through
after
the-
the meeting, you know.
Through the merit, sorry, through you, Mr. Mayor.
No, I don't believe we get in writing. I think what we're waiting for is to develop a policy and waiting for our expert, Mr. Love.
Mr. Love
Excuse me.
did give me written authorized,
Excuse me,
written
we're-
approval.
This is turning into a massive debate here, which is not the intent of question period.
We can't speak on behalf of council.
Further questions? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. So moved. Councilor Smith.